Many of us have been tucking in to Doctor Who The Collection Season 7, but we, the elders, me and Luke, have been studying our astral charts, waiting the arrival of the Savages. And today we're going to talk about the secrets of the Savages because we've been absorbing the life force of it to talk about this recent animation.
We've been expanding our minds, haven't we?
We
Becoming
have.
rather sophisticated.
We are sophisticated gentlemen to talk about this rather intriguing animation.
Hmm. I mean, the animations have had a up and down history.
Yeah,
I feel like we're in a
let's
downward
say.
turn at the moment.
I mean, I think it had a little peak with Celestial Toymaker, but I think that's
Hmm.
because the story allowed for creative flair. And I think we're back in a little bit of a lull here with the Savages. And I
Hmm.
think Dodo described it best, actually. Sterile and inhuman, which I think's very fitting for the Savages.
I mean, before we talk about the animation,
Yes.
how much did you know slash understand about the story itself? Had you watched it before as a reconstruction or anything?
Yeah, I watched the Loose Cannon Recon back in 2013, so I knew of the story and I was really excited because I
Ah.
thought it was a sort of lost classic of the Hartnell era. Like nobody talked about the Savages, and I think it was Ian Stuart Black as a writer for Doctor Who. I really like. I like his sort of contemporary style of stories. They fit very much the era of Doctor Who we could get now. And you definitely get that with the Savages. So I was aware of the story, and when we got the little animation tease, it was I was optimistic, I'd say.
Ah. Yeah, I mean, you can go back and watch that original
Yeah, you can,
reaction to
yeah.
see the hope die from Ben over the recent
I mean, it's not
times.
all doom and gloom. There are good
Oh,
things to talk about.
yeah. I mean, for me, this was my first full experience of the story. I'd seen the surviving footage that existed, all 10 seconds of it in total, so there's not too much, is there? It's very
Yeah.
scattered across the 4 episodes. And obviously knew it as Stephen's departure story, knew the basic beats. I think my first proper understanding of it came from Mr. TARDIS's review,
Hmm.
where he was doing all those Hartnell marathons and very much shone a light on, like you say, this underappreciated classic in many ways, it seems. And so I feel like the story itself lived up to that. I
Hmm.
did very much enjoy the story. But yeah, the animation, probably the main thing we're here to talk about. Very functional, I think is the
It's
it's
serviceable, isn't it?
yeah, it's telling the story and not much else.
It's it's more of a faithful reconstruction. It's not adding artistic flair to make the story seem a bit more grand, like in the Macra Terror. It's very much here's the Savages, really.
Mm. But at the same time, it's not like it's a faithful recreation in that it's adapting some of those surviving telesnaps and such, or how
Mm.
the camera would have moved at the time. It's all very flat, characters walking side on a lot of the time.
A lot of walking
Yeah,
cycles.
yeah. Um,
And I think the environments for this story feel very flat.
hmm.
Um,
If we had a period with Fury from the Deep and a Bumble Snowman in particular, where you were getting these hyper detailed backgrounds in many ways. It felt like too much when compared to the character models.
mhm.
It made them stand out here. The character models and the backgrounds match, but it is almost too basic. Funny.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well the soundtrack doesn't help certain environments like the actual sort of landscape of the planet because you hear like these howling winds and there's no real atmosphere to what's happening with the characters. So like the weather's not affecting the little models of these characters as well.
Mm.
One thing I
You have a
noticed
There was a
in
rustle of the bushes at one point,
part
and no
three,
bushes moved.
yeah,
Is that
part
what you were
three,
about to
yeah,
say?
part three,
Yeah,
you've
that
got
was
them
all.
sort of crouching to go into the city and you can hear the bushes moving and there's they're already there stationary.
You can imagine the shot being like the bushes, and then they would part to either side, with the
Hmm.
characters in the middle pushing them there.
Yeah.
But instead, you just have that very awkwardly staged shot, and that's the direction is often rather dull with this. You have
And
all,
I think as well, like the fight sequence with the guard sort of trying to interrogate, this sort of one of the savages couple. You can hear
Hmm,
like the rustling after it's happened. So it doesn't quite match the soundtrack. So I think maybe they could have like
yeah.
trimmed it a little bit just to fit
Hmm.
the actual
I
sequence.
Yeah, you obviously had that somewhat awkward fight sequence in the Faceless Ones, didn't you? Part six,
Mm,
uh, between one of the chameleons and Sam. Uh, at least there was some movement. Here they're just totally still, but you can hear, like you say, the rustling of
mm,
what would be a little tussle. And there's a moment where a character is clearly speaking from off screen. I can't
yeah.
remember who it was. You can tell by the echo of their voice that they're meant to be talking to a character who's still on screen. Yeah, it's just a wide shot and you can see them, but it
Mm,
doesn't sound right like that. And I think sometimes, a lot of these things could have been saved by just more close-ups.
mm,
You know, go back to the basics that worked so well for the invasion and the moon base, because they were also done on quite a tight budget, but they were able to use that sensibly
yeah.
and creatively work around these issues. Here, it doesn't feel like there's any of that thinking outside the box. It just feels like it's, you know, here's what you got.
It feels very much of a budget, and I think you could add these little flares. Like I think the lighting's a big issue. What people had with the Underwater Menace one, and I think this one suffers the same issue. It has a glimpse of it, like in the trailer we saw with one of the savages in the corridor. That
Mm,
looked great. That give you a false sense of hope, going, "Oh my goodness, they've actually started to experiment with lighting again." No, it just feels very sort of bright. There's a little bit in the cave with sort of when the guard sort of casts a shadow over the light, but yeah, it's really very flat in terms of the lighting, I'd say as well.
yeah. I think that's just the way to describe the animation overall, isn't it? Just flat in
Yeah, like
pretty much every sense.
even the sort of life force energy stuff with like the tubes and you've got the bubbles, like that could have worked so well as like a 3D piece, but and it's just like these circles going up and bubbling. You're like, it doesn't really have much of an effect, I feel.
Hmm.
Character models is a big thing with this one, I think, as well.
I think Dodo is
Yes.
surprisingly strong. Like,
Yeah. You wouldn't think it, but yeah, I think she's the best likeness of this.
it's funny because it feels like the female character models are often the ones they struggle with a bit more.
Mm.
But here, Dodo is spot on. And I don't think the Doctor's too bad either,
I
actually.
think they've got Hartnell's mannerisms down very well, I think.
Hmm.
I think this really
Which,
gets sort of the mannerisms of Hartnell.
which I think they almost had to because they're important to the story. When you
Mm.
have the leader of the,
Jano.
yeah, Jano, absorbing the Doctor's essence and absorbing some of his mannerisms of conscience. A very strong and interesting performance there.
By Frederick Muller.
Yeah, well animated as well. I think those moments in particular when it comes to his hands and such. We have sort of cheated a bit here. We've divided the workload between us unintentionally. I went for the black and white 4:3 version, and you went for the color version.
Yeah.
With your point of view being that, it's how it's
It's how they're
envisioned, it's
made
how it's,
for.
yeah, it's what they make it for, which, yeah, quite understandable. I went on the basis of,
Purist.
I think I'm going, yeah, partially purist, partially, I think I'm going to enjoy this more because black and white does
Hide
hold,
sins.
yeah, it hides some sins. And I do think it helped me enjoy it more. There are odd moments in that, though, where the camera very quickly pans from one side of what would have been a widescreen shot to the other.
Mm.
So you do at least have it not being straight up cropped all the time. They have thought about, what's important to include in that shot. But the way it pans very quickly is just so obvious. that is the widescreen shot shifted over. The little flourishes they do add, like the holographic displays,
Of the Astro
don't-
chart, yeah.
yeah, don't add much, don't take anything away either, though. I think overall, a lot of the city stuff, I could easily imagine just being, you know, yeah, blow ups on the backgrounds. I think
Mm.
that's all pretty believable.
It felt very sort of Mandalorian, like the Jack Black episodes,
Oh,
sort of how it's sort of riffing off that and
hmm.
sort of the inside of the city, I feel.
One of the things that is a shame is that it's sort of the same style as Macroterror, isn't it? It's
Mm.
those same models-ish. It's that same look and feel, but just so much downgraded in the approach to it, the lighting. And yeah, I think that's what hurts these more is that we've seen this, what can be done with this same style.
Yeah.
That's just not there anymore. It's not like it's a new style that they're trying out that's then going to improve as time goes on. It's an older style that just feels like it's getting
Regressed,
cut
I felt.
less. Yeah, handed out less and less budget.
I mean, there are talks that they have found a way of getting more animations out.
Mm. But
Um,
are they going to be end of an improving quality, or is this the standard
this is
now?
the monkey's
Because
paw, isn't it?
yeah, because it does just feel like at this point they're going, oh, okay, let's get these done,
Mm.
rather than let's do them justice. Which,
Which is a shame,
yeah, I
really.
think, because ultimately, realistically, we're only going to get one shot at these stories.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be a good one.
Well, yeah, if you look at like the invasion, how that's
Mm,
19 years old and that still stands up superbly.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, so many of those old ones are really strong. And compared to what we have now, it's just that contrast of where we were to where we are. Story wise, this is a fascinating one.
Yeah, it feels very new series of sort of like the elder sort of predicting the doctor's going to arrive. That feels very Moffat,
Ah,
I feel, for me.
hmm. I don't, it felt a bit odd to me, but at the same time, it's one of those odd things that I could see the Hartnell era getting away with,
Hmm.
randomly throwing it in and never mentioning it again.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, at times, Stephen was a bit odd. Like early, like Dojo gets a rough blast from everyone in this. Dojo's just like, oh, she wouldn't be that. But Stephen says about her, she wouldn't be that stupid at one point, where she's wandered off. But she's the one who's quite
She's
rightly
pushing the
calling out
story.
this civilization. It does very much feel like Ian Stuart Black, the writer, just went, right, I need one character to be supportive and then one to distrust this, so we have conflict between them.
Hmm.
And Stephen sort of draws the short straw on that one.
But I think Stephen gets probably the best outcome because I think it sets up his departure really well, actually. Like classic Who wise, I
Why?
think
Yeah,
it's set up pretty good.
in some ways, but I was kind of shocked by how swift it was
Hmm.
and how abrupt it was, which I shouldn't be. I've seen the War Machines, I've seen what this era does when it's kicking out the old to bring in the new with Ben and Polly. But with the story of the potential there, I was expecting more, and instead you sort of get, oh, we need someone to lead us. Doctor, you could be that someone. Oh, no, no, I couldn't possibly. Well, okay, well, if we can't have you, we'll have your younger male friend instead then.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he earned it with, sort of building the trust of both.
It's more just the fact that he's treated as a reconciliation prize.
Yeah, like a rebound.
Yeah. And then the doctor immediately jumps on it like, yes, yes, great opportunity, my boy. Bugger off now. Leave me and Dodo too. explore our
Yes.
first Doctor adventures. We're off to meet the monkeys.
Don't look back now. We're going to have some wonderful adventures now. Mm.
Oh, that was a touching moment, though,
Yeah, that
looking
was
back.
great. That was lovely.
It's a bit awkward that they walk out the same door he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an animation thing.
Sorry,
That's
my boy.
from the
We've
original
not said goodbye
story.
yet.
What if they start catching him up and they have to awkwardly slow down to
We're not going to see him until the big finish story, Living Darkness. Yes,
Mm.
come on this way. Check out our review. Uh, but yeah, I think it's a great story, and I think the
Mm.
animation does it's serviceable for it. I think if you can look past it, you'll see a pretty strong story within there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the package itself comes with quite a few special features. You've got a reconstruction in there as well, so that you do get more the pure story side of
Yeah.
things rather than the animation perhaps distracting you if you're not a fan. So, yeah, on the whole, I think it's probably worthwhile picking up if you are interested in this story because
Yeah,
the
big
story,
chunky extras.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Hmm.
package, I think.
Yeah, whereas the Underwater Menace, which was similar to this, in terms of the animation quality, it has this going for it as a story
Mm,
in many ways. But it does have two surviving episodes. So, you know, there's a monkey's paw in a way there.
yeah. So Savages, thumbs up, despite the animation issues.
Yeah. It's like the animation is the main selling point of this release, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's what's there on the cover. It's what the point of it is. It's the whole reason this release exists.
Hmm.
And yet it is probably the part of the release I would recommend the least.
Mm.
Uh, but nevertheless,
That's the Savages.
yeah, I enjoyed experiencing the story at least.
That's something.
Yeah. I don't think the animation necessarily detracted from the
No,
story.
no, no, no.
Yeah, I don't. It didn't ruin the atmosphere like, say, Fury from the Deep did.
Hmm.
Like that very much felt like a strong story that was at odds with the animation.
Hmm.
This animation just sort of feels so bland that it's there.
Yeah, I think if it did have like the little tweaks, like we say, like the lighting, I think it would
Yeah.
add a little bit of atmosphere to it.
Mm. Yeah. And just some more interesting direction, really.
Hmm.
Yeah. But that is our thoughts on the Savages
Mm.
animation. Have you picked it up? What did you think of it? Did you go for the color or the black and white first?
Hmm.
Because black and white is still disc one, so
It
it
is,
sort of
yeah.
almost encourages you to go for that first, despite the color being the one that's on everything. It's the one that they showed a trailer for, the one that they uh, use on the back of the CD and Blu-ray.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird, but nevertheless, that is what it
Savages.
is, and that is the Savages. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed.
Bye bye.